I have an example that I would like to share with you. It's a little video here, about 3 minutes. This video, it's in the United States. A group of people, all of them are immigrants, came from somewhere else, but as everybody else in this country, we're all immigrants. But what this group of people did, they went and looked deep into their faith, and they happened to be Muslims. They looked deep into their faith, and they basically applied what their faith told them to do. And with that, they had a vision. They said, there's a vision and aspiration. And then they put basically the strategies and steps and made it happen. And I will share with you the video too for yourself to see.
If you want to see what Muslim Americans truly represent, go to the Ummah Community Clinic and you will see it there.
We are the poorest, not just in Los Angeles, but probably in the United States. This population has the most premature births, the least number of foster kids, the least number of childbirths, the least number of insurance.
In California, 1 out of every 3 people in this state does not have health insurance.
We're not just talking about homeless people, drug addicts.
80% of the uninsured still have jobs. What does that mean? That means that these aren't lazy people not doing anything. There's a very serious problem with the system.
LA County has seen the closure of 11 community clinics. These people might have to take 5 buses and 2 freeways to access services that are not practical for them to access.
We have to realize that the Ummah Community Clinic is sometimes the only resort for our community to go to.
And that really is part of why Ummah settled on South Central Los Angeles. It's caring for those neighbors who are the most needy.
We were quite naive and quite idealistic as students. And though we didn't have much resources or financial backing or even a land or building, we had our Islamic faith in common, which compelled us to put our faith in action and provide services to the community in need.
When we first saw the building, it was basically a boarded up, run-down, crumbling building
that was literally a source of disease to the community.
It was being used by drug dealers and drug addicts. When we first went in the building, it was full of needles, liquor bottles.
And we were able to take this eyesore, this disease-ridden building, and turn it into something from itself.
So in a sense, even before Ummah Clinic saw its first patient, it had already made an impact on the community.
I was looking around the place, I'm like, I used to smoke crack City Right over there. In fact, that tree right there has my name on it.
And this is really the exact spot where the LA riots happened. We found that this particular area, which was right on the same street where Reginald Denny was beaten during civil disturbances in 1992, it's a place that showed historic intolerance. And it should be a place that shows historic mercy and historic compassion.
They treat you like you're a person, not a number. You know, you're not number 62.
When you walk through the door and you feel safe, like in a little piece of heaven in the middle of chaos.
The other unique aspect of Ummah is the fact that we don't just see patients, we actually make doctors here. Medical students, residents in training come here from different universities to be trained.
I get to learn a lot. I get to learn how to have better patient rapport. I'm learning from top-notch physicians.
The doctors that come here are from UCLA, CHLA.
They're not just, docking the boxes that didn't graduate from school or didn't finish their studies. We have very high-quality care at our clinic.
Yeah, I've seen some private clinics that, even I know they charge a lot. They don't look not even half of this really a lot.
So go someplace and have someone to tell you, you're a very intelligent young lady, Jennifer, and you should try to go back to school. They were instrumental in me getting myself together.
If we're going to heal this community and heal the world, we start out with projects like Ummah. And it's really as simple that if we can do it here, we really can do it anywhere.
And indeed, if we can do it here, we can do it anywhere. And I'm very inspired by what these doctors did. And it's a free clinic. And in a day today when we hear the difficulty with healthcare and the cost of healthcare, these guys have been operating now for 15 years and offering free care to anybody can come walk through. If you have time and you go on the internet and you can find the full video, they talk about only 2% of the patients are Muslims. And interestingly, look at that young lady, Jennifer. Nobody judged that she's doing drugs or anything like that. She's someone that needed help, independent of what she does. As a matter of fact, by treating her the way they did, they turned her around. They got her to go back to school. You can think around and know how many places you go to and you get your service, you get your treatment, and you walk away. These people not only offering treatment, but also inspiring people and giving them something, giving them hope so they can think and what they can do with their lives. For me, it's a very inspiring example of what you could do on a small scale, but very, very empowering. In the next few slides, I'm going to take some of these things, one at a time and talk about a lot of it. Guiding principles and values. This group of doctors, they said they were guided by their Muslim faith. That was their value, and their value, their Muslim faith there tells them to help another human being, and they followed that. I operate within my work. The company I was with before we got acquired, we had simple principles that we work with, and that's trust, dignity, and respect. Everybody has to apply that rule. The people who do not trust, respect, and treat others with dignity have no place there. And we did basically remove people from their positions if they violate these rules. It's very simple. The company that I work with today had 5 values. And I put them like in every single presentation where we do technical work. But in my presentation, the first thing that I put there, I put the values. And there's simple 5 values. We talk about quality. So we say everything you do has to be a quality, whether your job or whether you're delivering chocolate or a candy to the consumer, it has to be a quality work. It is required. The second one is responsibility. You're not going to sit here and wait for somebody to do something for you. You are responsible. You're educated, you know what you're doing, you're responsible. The third one, we call it mutuality. And mutuality meaning you have to be fair with the people you work with, whether it's a client, whether it's a customer. You can't basically squeeze the supplier of the sugar or the fat or the oil for your own benefit. You have to treat them fairly, and you have to deal with them in a fair manner. And as same thing, by the way, when you deal with your employees, you deal with them in a fair manner. They get equitable salary, they work in clean, healthy environment. And then we have efficiency. We cannot be wasteful. We have to be efficient in the way we operate our business. And the last one is about freedom. And it is very, very beautiful piece. And the company I work with, Mars Company. Mars Company, as many of you maybe know, it's a private company. It's not owned by shareholders. It's a family company. It's been around for close to 100 years. And I got to learn more about the family and how they operate, which is, for me, so fascinating because I've been with a lot of big companies, and I got a chance to meet many people who operate, large companies. The Mars family that runs this company, by the way, is $30 billion a year in sales. This family, as you know, like when you have a company, you have shareholders. The shareholders usually take about 60 to 80% of the revenue from the company in forms of stock options and dividends to the shareholders. The Mars family takes only 10%. Not 80, not 60, 10%. And the more fascinating thing, the 10% they take, 80% of that goes to charity. It's unbelievable. When you sit with these people, I am kind of like knocking myself in the head. I said, am I hearing this correctly? Jackie Mars, one of the two brothers and a sister, she's one of the 5 wealthiest people in the world. These 3, each one, their net worth is $14 billion. And they give 80% of the money they take back to charity. They don't keep it. And when you see, they don't fly private jets, they fly commercial. When they come to the building, they're in SUV Chevrolet. They can have an SUV Mercedes and armored and covered with all diamond, and they can afford to do that, and they don't do it. So there's something to learn when you rub shoulders with people like that and say, what made them actually think like that? And when they think about their employees, they think about the environment. You know, they already made a decision. By 2040, Mars is going to be carbon neutral, which is basically everything we put in our product has to be paid back to the environment and does not damage the environment. They don't need to do that. They are the first one to put a certification on cocoa. So that means certified cocoa means the farmers is not basically squeezed and took advantage of. So they do things kind of really fascinating. And when I look at that, I said, these people have value.